we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's live. It's done by Barflies, for Barflies, and all the other Bears fans out there. It's playoffs. Playoffs? Somehow we found a way to limp in, cripple in, whatever you want to say, but we're here. And it's time to bring it today. We're going down to NOLA. We got the Saints today, but before we get to all that, let's introduce the crew. We got Mr. Ryan Badge, the Badge of Honor. Badge, it's playoffs, baby. What's up?
Dude, I mean, what more is there to say? This is what you, hopefully win enough games to get into the postseason. Sometimes you need a little bit of help. I know a lot of Bears fans were very, very upset that we couldn't knock off the Packers, most likely probably thinking that there was a possibility that we could see them again in the playoffs. But we're in. It's a new season. Everybody's 0-0 except for the teams that played yesterday. And we just got to go out, execute, and just not worry about all the outside shit. You know, I think the time for talk is over. And, you know, everything that's been said leading up to this week, to this game, doesn't mean shit. Go out, put up, shut up, or you go home.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And those games yesterday, we won't really get into those too much, but those are some good games, man. They were all close. It was, I think the highest victory margin was 10 points. And hopefully, you know, that thing runs true today, that it's, you know, some close games, because to get into the playoffs and just get demolished would be freaking embarrassing. But either way, next we got Mr. Mike Schaefer rocking his brother's jersey, the Cairo for the Schaefo. Mike, what's up, dude?
What's up, fellas? You know, if you're going to look like a Bears player or get called out for looking like a Bears player, I suppose the closest thing to an MVP on this team in Cairo Santos is not a bad place to start. I don't think I could pass for Roquan, so I'll take Cairo, and we're going to rock it today. Wow, 6 weeks ago, if you would have told me we'd be here, I would have said you're crazy. There's no possible way. But look at us now. We're here. And it's not about how we got here. It's not about where do we go from here. It's about today. It's the playoffs. It's something we don't get to experience in this city too often. So let's enjoy it for the next 6, 7, 8 hours until the clock hits 0. And hopefully we'll be on our way to next week being up in Lambeau Field and facing the Packers. Third time's a charm, baby. Let's go today. I have an energy sort of similar to last week. When you wake up, it's week 17. It's the Packers. Yeah. You're in. But today, man, it's different. It's the playoffs. Let's make this one of those memorable days. Let's crush the Saints. The Saints have some bad luck in the playoffs. We've done it to them before. Let's make it happen today, boys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We got to get down there and just, you know, it has to be a different team. We have to come down there and show out at a different style and bring that playoff, you know, that playoff energy and playoff tempo. One guy who always brings the tempo, the bearded Bears fan, Mr. Aaron Current. AC, what's up, dude?
What's going on, fellas? A lot like Schaefer over there wearing Santos. That's why I wore Khalil Mack today, you know. The way we both look like we're just chiseled out of stone and always ready to go. It's difficult to explain. I heard a lot of Bears fans talking about how we don't belong, blah blah blah. We're 8-8, fellas. Yesterday there was a Washington football team that was 6-10, 7-9, and they were in the playoffs. So don't tell me we don't belong, man. It's playoffs. It's win or go home. It sucks that we couldn't find a way to beat the Packers, but there's a lot of teams out there that couldn't beat the Packers. And I'm pretty sure that I've seen the Saints blow some games in the playoffs. So I'm telling you, there's a chance. And that's all we need is a little bit of a chance. We need the defense to show up. I'm sure we'll get into it. I'm ready to go, though, boys. It's playoff football.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, there are some things today, right? We're not even going to wrap or go through that Packer game last week, right? It's over. That was last season. This is the new season. Let's run right into this thing and everything that we got for today, man. I mean, it's a new energy, a new light. You know, everybody loves the Cinderella stories, the way that, you know, you start off whatever. I don't think it really matters. You're in, and it's time to get after it, man. And today, heading down, we got the Saints, right? There's been a lot of talk this week about who's in, who's out. Let's start this thing off with the injury reports. Tough blow. I think we all expected it, but tough blow came yesterday. They came in and said that Roquan's out, and Darnell Mooney's out. Two key players on both sides of the ball, man. How does this affect the game plan? Offensively, where's our guys that got to step up, man? And what's the new plan going forward?
Yeah, I mean, no Mooney, you've got to turn to now Anthony Miller, who has really been basically non-existent on the offensive side of the ball over, this last 6 weeks of the season and even before that a little bit. Mooney is the guy who over the last few weeks and this season has, I think, really put together, with the exception of Allen Robinson, one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons for the Bears in a while. Anthony Miller's going to have to be that guy now. And it's hard to say that he will do that because he has not been a factor in this offense. Yes, early in the season, the Detroit game, week 1, Miller played great. I know there was one or two other times where he made some big catches as well, but he really hasn't been a factor. So he's really going to have to show up and show out today. I want to see Riley Ridley on the fucking field.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the fucking reason is that this coaching staff doesn't play this kid, but when he's gotten on the field this season, he's had receptions. Granted, it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, something along those lines, but play this kid. He was a 4th-round draft pick. Teams were very high on him. I don't understand it. I don't understand why this kid isn't in the lineup every week and we keep sending Javon Wims out there. I don't know the purpose, if it's a special teams thing because Wims plays special teams and Ridley doesn't. Now you've got no Mooney. So to me, Riley Ridley should also be a factor. Run game, obviously something we're going to have to rely on as well. I did think we played well offensively last week, but I also felt like you could tell it was Matt Nagy back in charge of calling plays. And if it wasn't, then he had a huge fucking hand in what went into the game plan last week, because you did not see a ton of moving Mitch and trying to get him out. You saw a lot more pocket passes. And I that just doesn't play to his strengths. And what Bill Lazor had done prior to last week, I mean, Mitch looked completely different. Last week, he looked like the scared fucking guy we saw, before he was benched and last season. So, to me, if that was the case, if they gave it back to Nagy to see if he could do something in the last week of the season, well, give it back to fucking Lazor. Just fucking forget about it.
Yeah, don't these – go ahead, AC.
I was just going to say the way they ran the ball last week makes me think Nagy may have had a part of the play calling, but not 100% all of it. But you still saw things that were Nagy footprints. We did see Mitch roll out. Unfortunately, he had one option on that play, and that really pissed me off. The 4th and 1 that you got to have, and you give the guy one option. Yep. I like the way we controlled the clock, kept Aaron Rodgers on the side, and we need to do that again today. But rather than sticking with field goals, sorry, Santos, I love you. You're killing it up here. But we got to get 6, man. You can't be trading touchdowns for field goals. And the defense has got to step up, man. That the Packers dropped a wide open touchdown that was on top of everything. Rodgers was just picking us apart. We saw Trevathan trying to cover a wide receiver again, and
you hit on the red zone efficiency on both sides, right? Like the Bears defense, letting up touchdowns. I think Green Bay had 4 touchdowns or 4 out of 5 attempts in the red zone. They scored a touchdown. And the Bears got 1. I think the play calling last week, regardless of who did it, it was a conservative play call to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. I mean, that's what I believe had happened there, and it worked for one drive. It worked for the opening drive, and the Bears ate up a ton of clock. The problem with that, it was such a simplified offense that I think Green Bay picked up on what exactly it was that they were doing, and we weren't able to get back. We weren't able to get back into the end zone. So I don't know who was calling the plays there, but to me, it looked super conservative, and I'm guessing it was to keep 12 off the field on the other end. But red zone efficiency's got to get better on both sides of the ball for the Bears today. And I think in the same vein, third down efficiency on both ends. The Bears were terrible on third down last week, both on offense and defense. Those are the two things. And to me, those are two big keys where it doesn't come down to one play that was called a 4th and 1, and we threw into the flat, and it should have been a better play call. I mean, let's not forget they were 4 for 4 on not getting to that point, and so the credit where credit due, but I think it's this big picture stuff, that we've got to look at to improve for today.
I gotta say this.
Go ahead, Badge.
Sorry. The red zone offense, I just don't. I mean, this is something we've talked about since year one of the Nagy era, how they just can't score in the fucking red zone. And I mean, you look at the offense and you look at other teams in the league. Yesterday, I sat here, I watched every game yesterday.
Yeah.
These teams scheme to get their wide receivers open, and yet our offense and our receivers, you're seeing multiple receivers in the same goddamn area. Like, what the fuck are we trying to do offensively? And I say that offensively as a whole, but the same in the red zone. Even in the red zone, you're seeing multiple receivers in the same goddamn spot, and you don't see it with other teams. Yeah. It baffles me what the fuck this offense is trying to do. And I know I'm not sitting here saying, Nagy's got to go, Pace has got to go. I'm not saying that. We're in the playoffs. Those guys are part of the reason that we're here. But if you're sitting in the top of the Chicago Bears organization and watching that game last week and each game this season and looking at other teams, especially the scouting department, and you're seeing what the fuck's happened, like, what the fuck is the point of this offense? I get none of it except, I mean, they're super pass heavy. You got multiple guys in the same fucking spot. Then you go to the run game and you get successful, and then boom, we're back to throwing 15 times in a row. I just, at this point, you're in the playoffs, you're starting over, you're fresh, you're 0-0. I think we need a fucking miracle offensively in order to be able to do something today. I really do. I just don't understand what, if this is Kansas City's offense, I mean, I don't get how they run it to perfection and we look like fucking dipshits.
We're a far way away from this being Kansas City's offense, so we're nowhere close. Although Nagy came from there, and that was the hype of the sell when he first got here. This is nothing like that, and I think this coaching staff, whether it be offense or defense, they're out schemed. They're out schemed almost every game. The 6 teams that played yesterday, kind of like you were saying, Badge, we don't look like any of those teams. Those teams looked like efficient, like effective, and we look like we're like, oh shit, 3rd and 8. What are we doing? Who's got the play call? Coach, I fucking delay a game. Oh fuck, 3rd and 13. Fuck. Yeah. Just throw it. Somebody run deep and we'll throw it to you. I mean, we're just we're outmatched like all the way around, man, and we're outmatched mentally. We're outmatched physically because we're outmatched mentally. We don't put our guys where they're supposed to be. Besides that opening drive of the Packers game, like, okay, 4th quarter, we were still kind of in that. There was, the
absolutely
the one drive could have done it, but I mean, that's wishful thinking too, because when I look at it, of course, I'm always optimistic and like, all right, let's go. We're going to do this. But then you see these things where we're just outcoached, we're outmatched, and we do dumb shit. You know what I mean? And we sit back in this damn soft ass defense. We sit back in these zones. We get picked apart. Aaron Rodgers isn't the reason we got beat against the Packers. Any quarterback with time back there could have fucking picked us apart. People were
wild. The kid from Washington yesterday. Why is it our coaching staff? Look at that kid. That kid came in yesterday and they played to what he did good, to his strengths. And he played a phenomenal game. Now, I'm not sitting here saying we got to go sign him. Well, we got to bring that kid in here. Because even if he comes here, these fucking coaches are going to ruin it. Yeah. It's the coaching staff. That's the hard part. And that's the thing that here we are. We're into this postseason game. As fans of football, we watched these games yesterday. And we see this kid. Nobody even really knew who the fuck he was unless you watched the whatever that fucking league was.
XFL, right?
Yeah, whatever it was. Nobody even knew who this guy was. And you come in and you see what he did to a Bucs defense that, I don't know, 10 weeks ago shut down Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I get it. They don't have tape on him, yada, 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 this, that, and the other thing. But they have a defensive scheme that shut down probably the MVP in the league this year.
And you hit the nail on the head, man. They played to the strengths of their players. And we were doing it for weeks. That's how we put up over 30 points a game for 4 games straight.
Yeah.
And if we would have handled business against the Lions, nobody would be talking about us sneaking into the playoffs because we would have gotten in on our own accord. But it baffles me that it's 3 years in, and what's really crappy about it is making the playoffs 2 out of those 3 years is going to get nobody's going anywhere. I mean, Pagano needs to go. Because we have the horses to have an attacking defense, and instead of attacking, we just sit back in zones and pray to God Robert Quinn, Hicks, and Mac get home. Which the amount of money they're making, they should be able to get home. But I don't know, man. You just got to attack.
Let's go back though for a second because you had brought it up, and we actually have a clip about this. You were talking about Nagy or Washington. It's playing to their players' strengths, right?
Mm-hmm.
We actually have some stuff here, but coming up, on this New Orleans team, you got a New Orleans team that's been successful year in and year out, right? They're going with a mixture of quarterback. You see Breeze on the field for the most part, right? But I mean, you go back and forth between Breeze and Taysom Hill on some plays. You've seen them be successful. They went on, I want to say it was an 8-game, maybe a 7-game winning streak with Teddy Bridgewater last year. This is a team that does that. They switch up, and those are different style quarterbacks, man. And they switch up their play style. They switch up their coaching for this quarterback. So Nagy was asked, to evaluate Sean Payton and how he basically plays to his players' strengths. So let's drop that in here, and then we'll talk about that.
He does a great job when they're missing some pieces and being able to adapt to their personnel. When you lose a Hall of Fame quarterback and you end up taking a guy that you have a lot of trust in that plays multiple positions for you, and you say, hey, by the way, now you're just going to play quarterback this game, and you go out and you win a football game. The different things that he does with Teddy Bridgewater last year, put Teddy in great situations to where there was a lot of shorter type passes, but then they pick and choose when they wanted to go deep. They ran screens and worked around them. And then Teddy made good decisions. So I think it just speaks to who Sean is as a coach. He's been doing this a long time. His players have a lot of respect for him, and he's really good at it. So there's a reason why they have success, and he adapts to what he has, and that's a credit to him and his coaches.
Which is a non-credit to Matt and his coaches, because the Bears they don't adapt to anything at all. I'm sorry. I'm not. I want to win this game, but when you look at what's in front of you, I will cheer my ass off. I will root for this team because I love the organization. I love the team. These players haven't quit all season, whether that's they haven't done it for Nagy or for the other coaches. But guys, this isn't going to change after this. If there isn't some sort of switch to some of these positional coaches, I mean, it's going to be the same thing until finally, we have a bad losing season and these guys are gone. What that means for Ryan Pace, whatnot, who knows? But the adjustments are key pieces. We've sat here for 17 weeks now and watched Chuck Pagano make no adjustment in any way, shape, or form. How can we sit here and say we're going to go out and we're going to win this game based on what we've seen over the course of the 17-week season?
Yeah, it's so ironic that Matt makes those comments because we've seen nothing but the opposite here. And you can only hope that maybe he learned something by speaking that truth this week and realizing or recognizing there's something his own team needs to do. We saw it. I know we don't want to harp on the Green Bay game, but we saw it exposed on the 3rd and 10 play that went to MVS for 73 yards. I think everybody heard on the Pat McAfee show this week, Aaron Rodgers made some comments about how he saw the mismatch. And Aaron Jones was supposed to motion into the backfield. He saw that, kept him out there because he knew he had the mismatch of MVS on Danny T. And that's something that he saw that Pagano should have seen too. Adjust. Mm-hmm. Can't force that. And we force things on offense. We force things on defense because we have and this might be a strong word, but in my opinion, egotistical or stubborn coaches that want to see their plays work, as opposed to seeing their players perform and adjust to what needs to be adjusted on the field. So it changes today, but I think if we're holding our breath expecting that, we're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And like you basically this whole, evaluating talent and playing to your players' strengths is something that we've seen. I mean, he just doesn't do it, man. I mean,
ever.
And anybody who's seen Leonard Floyd this year knows that he's in a different system, right? He's actually putting his hand down in the dirt this year, though, too. There's a lot of him putting his hand down in the dirt, which he wasn't doing here in the past, but he's successful with it. We've seen Robert Quinn come in from a place where he was putting his hand in the dirt to not, and he is not successful with it. So I was even one of them at the beginning saying it shouldn't matter whether or not he has his hand in the dirt, but it seems to matter.
It does.
Yeah, but all in all, I was kind of just saying like the evaluating the talent, right? They just don't. Obviously, they're not good at it, man. It's time and time again just going through and then to kind of go with this whole, Heineke thing and Taysom Hill and all these guys who are there, right? These guys were there originally as third string practice squad guys.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they keep horses in the fucking barn and they keep guys in there that they can use. That's not something that this staff does. And if it's not the win-loss record as a reason to fire the guy, I think it's the damn, the stock. Who do you have left? Like, who's here to help you win?
Yes.
And how are you dealing with this team? Because I feel like they're just like, I feel like there's so many spots that he misses, and the thing that he was brought here to do, he's not even doing well. So how are we forgiving him for everything else that he's supposed to be doing that he's not?
Yeah. I want to bring up a tweet that David Kaplan put out last night that Aldo retweeted and made a comment on after he posted it that I saw Mike also was in on. And Kaplan was talking about development of a quarterback and how these other organizations look at how they've gone to their second, third. In the Redskins case, it's fourth, fifth.
Yeah.
And yet we didn't even have an undrafted free agent signed until week, 4 or 5 of this season because, we just because of COVID. Ryan Pace and Mike's tweet said he would want to have a new quarterback every season, and they have not done it. We were on the I was on the Gordon train last year, saw him at the Senior Bowl in person, watched him perform really well. Let's go get this kid. And, you look what happens and how he ends up. And he's, I don't even know if he's on a roster right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's still, yeah.
Yeah. So this position has been, and I tweeted it earlier, it's just been completely ignored you look at Chase Daniel. Now, you put Chase Daniel in games, I think he won a couple for the Bears. But if you have to play him over a course of a few games, you're fucked. You're screwed. We had Mark Sanchez here. Same scenario. Then it was Nick Foles. Now, this guy, granted, he was a Super Bowl MVP, but I said it back in the spring before they made the move, and then when they made it, that he's not the answer. He's not the guy. And then he comes out and shows it. This has been a mismanaged position since, signing Mike Glennon as your quarterback to be your starter. It all started right then and there.
Don't you think this tarnishes the relationship though with Mitch and
100%.
Matt? If you're bringing in guys to replace your stud, to replace the guy that your draft, to replace your young kid, instead of like kind of how it started, right, with Sanchez and then Mitch, and then you got Tyler Bray back there, right? Once Sanchez was out, there should have been younger, or whatever under Mitch, right? And then the relationship between Matt and Mitch is more of a, hey, Mitch or Matt's coaching him, right, and building him up, and Mitch is bringing along the younger guys, and it's kind of like a I don't know, chain of command or a funnel system or however you want to call it, of building each other up instead of always trying to find the guy because you're just not that good, Mitch. Without saying it, right? You're going out and trying to bring in other guys to take your quarterback's job. I think that's always the game plan, right? To have a guy that's good enough to take his job, but to openly just go out and like take Foles and say this is this quarterback competition. I think if you would have brought Gordon in, or if you would have brought any of these undrafted free agents in, Mitch is still comfortable, but he knows that these kids are deadly behind him.
Sure.
But when you bring in like a Foles, you're then going against the confidence of it all. And I think it tarnishes the relationship between them, man. And Nagy was actually asked how his relationship with Mitch has been over the last 3 years. So let's hear it from the offensive guru's mouth on. Sorry, I can't say that without laughing. Without thinking what his relationship was like with Mitch.
During the season, when my hat is on as a head coach, there's so many other different things that I have to relate to and make sure I'm staying on top of. So there's still that connection, but it's not the same exact interaction as when it's the off season. There's been times in the off season, you got to understand, like, he's been over to my house and been with the family and have, whether it's having dinner or just hanging out, like there's a relationship there that goes on in previous years. And as we move through this thing that a lot of people don't see, everyone just sees it as it's something that's on the football field every Sunday, but there's stuff that goes on with all of us, not just Mitchell, but with all these guys that, when tough decisions are made, it's not easy because you have experiences like that you do off the field. And so, for me, being able to grow as a coach, both as a head coach and as a leader for him, it's been very good, and it's been different in the fact that he's growing too, and he's taught me a lot of stuff. So there is that relationship side to it that I think I'm learning from him, he's learning from me, and it definitely makes your relationship stronger, especially when you went through what we went through.
I think he's full of shit. Sorry.
I think you're spot on, man. I get the perception that his view of the relationship he has with Mitch is very different than Mitch's view. We've heard a lot of comments from Mitch since he came back that like there seems to be a wall there. And I don't think the relationship is that good. Last week in the press conference after the game about the 4th and 1 play, like when they asked him about it, he's like, "Well, I wouldn't have called that play, or maybe we should have called a different play." So I don't think that relationship is good as Matt Nagy makes it out to be. I mean, he's a sales guy, you know.
Yeah.
And he's not a football coach. Maybe he needs to go back into sales. That's where he came from, and a lot of things that you hear at his press conferences, like I can tell you, I've been through the same sales trainings that I think Matt Nagy has gone through. Because
yeah, man, he's a realtor. He was a freaking realtor. He's still trying to sell houses to the Chicago Bears fan base.
Yep.
I mean, I know, Mike, I know you said you think Mitch's view's different than Matt's. Well, we just happen to have what Mitch's view is on the relationship with Matt Nagy. So let's toss that in here and then wrap this little piece up with this broken fucking drama of a relationship these two have.
Has changed.
Yeah, it's good. We have open communication and dialogue about what I think needs to happen within this offense. And I think he has more respect for my opinion about things that I feel comfortable with that I think will help this offense and help do what fits us and what our guys do best. So it's just getting on the same page and having those conversations and communication and doing things that we both feel comfortable with his background and what I think will fit. So it's been good. We've rebuilt the trust and it's been positive, and I think that's been seen throughout the offense. And what I think is most important is just my continued relationship with him, and the other guys on the offense, just having that trust come back to life. And I think you're starting to see it more on the field and execution and how we go out to practice every day and practice really hard for one another.
Good God. Real condensed.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he turns around and says, I think he trusts me now or whatever, that he'll take my opinion. It took 3 years for this coach to take his quarterback's opinion on what needs to be done in this offense. To me, that's like one of the first key points of Mitch saying, like, this guy doesn't fucking know. And then he thinks that they rebuilt the trust. I mean, is that even a thing? Do you rebuild the trust like that? Or is Mitch always just out with a chip on his shoulder now saying, like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing and, go from there? I don't know. For me, man, there's a lot of Nagy problems. I know it's like that for everybody, right? And we feel like if Nagy just stays away from the play calling that, and just does it or is a head coach, that he'll be successful. But I kind of like this week, man. I mean, I've been thinking, like, why would we even want that? Like, why?
Right.
Why would we even want a guy who's crippled at one part of the game, but like he could be a really good head coach. He just can't be a offensive coordinator. I've said that hundreds of times. Why would we even want that? If his job as an offensive coordinator is where he came from and we want him to be a head coach, why are we going to even keep him if he's shit at his original job? I don't know, man. There's just a lot of problems with me and how he's run this team. And I feel like all of this it just gets exposed week after week with this team.
And I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I think the answer, devil's advocate, is you need to know what you're getting in return, because you don't want to regress. And if we've talked about it for the last few weeks, you still have a locker room that's together, blah, 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 blah. The only reason I think you wouldn't consider it, but they should have their eyes out. I mean, they should definitely be looking for the successor. But you've got to know, especially with a veteran roster, like you've got to know this is going to be the guy.
Yeah. I think the only reason do you think too, right? Is the only reason that you got to know is because we didn't know about Nagy. I mean, we thought, right? We didn't know about Trestman. I don't think that this team, I think this team's always been like we believe, right? And we're trying to do this or that. The Rams didn't know about McVay, right? I mean, these are just all guys who kind of have a belief, right? We've seen.
I gotta say, Bobby, I agree with Mike North right here. I mean, it's if Mitch leaves, what happens to this organization? I mean,
Yeah, no, I get it. And I think if Mitch does go, I think New England would be great with Mitch. I think Mitch is going to be successful wherever he goes next. I think Nagy's 100% the problem, right? But on
What does
the
that
second,
say? Let me ask you guys this. What does that say about the coaches underneath Nagy? That if we're sitting here as fanalists and we're seeing these things and calling out his bullshit in his press conferences, what does that say about the coaches underneath him? Why aren't these coaches who are paid NFL coaches, who some of them have had the play calling roles and whatnot, why aren't they? I get he's the head coach, but you've heard coaches say in the past, yeah, I've got people, you've heard Nagy say it. Well, I got guys telling me, that if I'm getting away from something, where are these coaches saying, hey, Matt, you know what? Things were working really, really good with Bill calling plays. Let's stick with that. Let's not go back. I mean,
is Nagy a guy that accepts that opinion though? Is Nagy a guy who accepts input? Obviously, it took him 3 years to accept Trubisky's fucking input. I mean, what if some of these coaches? What if we don't know how it is internally? Some of these guys might be like, man, fuck that guy. I've told him like 6 fucking times, right? And some of these offensive players could be the same way with like, Mitch, are we really running that fucking play again? Like, did he just send that in? And then Mitch is like, yeah, sorry guys, we're gonna do really good. Like, come on, like, and who knows, man? I don't know how it is. I'm just randomly saying that maybe he doesn't accept the input of these other coaches, or he sells them like a car salesman. Yeah. I mean, I think that worked. That'd be really great, and then does nothing. Like, doesn't do it.
Yeah, money for an in-season version of Hard Knocks at Hallis Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
There's some there's got heated conversations, but I think you're right on point, Bobby, that they're buying what he's selling. And,
yeah.
Because otherwise you'd have dysfunction. Yeah.
That's true.
Should be next to that word.
Yeah, speaking of dysfunction, let's wrap this up with this whole Nagy thing, right? But speaking of dysfunction, let's move to this defense. Because that's really what we've seen lately. I mean, we've seen a defensive coordinator who believes his inside linebackers are all DBs. We've seen now Mike Glennon and Aaron Rodgers pick us apart 2 weeks in a row. So let's not act like it's only Aaron Rodgers, because Mike Glennon's fucking giraffe neck easily saw who was open downfield and picked us apart. And get into this. I mean, the top tackler on the team now is out. Roquan's out, right? We got Danny T. We got a doubtful Josh Woods at inside linebackers today. I don't know if Woods is a game time or if he's just questionable, but and then you got the call up of Manti Te'o from the practice squad, and I mean, who knows? So this is a part that kind of bothers me about it. I get Roquan as our top tackler. I think he's probably our most effective defensive player this year, hands down. I know we got Mac. I know we got Quinn. I know we got Hicks. I know we got Eddie. I know we got Kyle. I know Jalen Johnson's back today. But I think Roquan is hands down the most impactful player that we have on defense this year, without a doubt. But that's my opinion. And with him being gone, all those other names that I just mentioned, we're still afraid of what's going to happen to this defense. I think that phrases up dysfunctional wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I don't think. I think that's fact. But Roquan clearly is the best defender on this team, or at least he's been this season. There was a comment in the chat, I think it was in the grasp a little earlier, that talked about missing that hard-hitting safety, and we're going to miss that today. The Bears, when we decided to let Amos go, they decided to have 2 center fielders out there that are ball hawks, and that when you're missing your best linebacker, you're going to the next level, where Woods, Josh Woods, or it might be Iwu Buniwe or whoever's going to end up playing. Like, that's where you need that supporting cast. You're going to miss that today, big time. It's a blow. I mean, this is the blow that I think. I don't know how you overcome it. I hope to God Pagano has a plan, but I'm not too confident in that.
Yeah, and
play tough.
Roquan's the guy you're going to put on Kamara to try and help salvage that. And without him being there, and now Josh Woods even there, I don't know how you stop it. And I mean, you're talking about having a hard hitting safety. I think Tashawn Gibson can bring you that, but we've seen time and time again Pagano has these guys not using them correctly.
Yeah. I think so too. I think he's being asked to do something else. I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Leonard Floyd, right? Now, granted, I was all on the hey, Floyd's not living up to it. You don't give him a contract. He got his 1-year deal and he's fucking balled out, right? But I think he's there. I think some of these guys are being asked to do things that are not to their strengths. I mean, we've seen Robert Quinn in coverage. We've seen Khalil Mack in coverage. Granted, it's not that I don't like that I'm totally against them dropping to a flat here and there, right? But to be one-on-one running around back there, like you're the only guy, and it's just ridiculous, I think.
With Bob Tunyon with 75 touchdowns this season.
Yeah, and
Danny T in coverage is the prime example of that. I looked up the numbers. When in coverage, Danny Trevathan, quarterbacks have a 127 quarterback rating, 33 for 42, 10 yards per attempt. Compare that to Roquan, 48.9 quarterback rating. Quarterbacks are 29 and 52 for 55% and 3 yards per attempt. What a difference. What a gap. And Pagano failed to see that you can't have Danny T dropping back.
Yeah. Send Duke Shelley on a blitz and leave Danny T on a much faster receiver. That's a genius scheme. Not even bring a safety in to fucking put a safety on a fucking wide receiver. Leave the 10, 11-year veteran on a wide receiver.
Well, not only that, he had to run from the A gap because he was showing blitz. He had to run from the A gap and then try to catch the receiver. It's not going to happen.
It all goes back to even talking about Matt Nagy. I saw somebody, Ron Rupnow. It all comes down to coaching. These fucking coaches don't have it.
And they don't develop either. Someone in the chat came up. I saw it pop up earlier that said we're not finding talent, so you can't develop it. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's just not being developed, and I don't know that these coaches can do it. We've seen, and I tweeted it while we were playing the Titans. Mitch Trubisky can be the next Ryan Tannehill when he leaves Chicago. If he's put in the correct system and used the correct way, he can be. I don't think he can be a great quarterback, but you can win ball games with that quarterback, and we see it all over our team.
Yeah, and to say that we're not finding talent so you can't develop it, we're talking about what, Jalen Johnson? We're talking about Roquan Smith. I mean, and even on the other side, you're finding talent, man. I disagree with that. But
there's definitely talent. There's talent definitely there. It's just it's not being used properly.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. That it's just not. It's not being played to their strengths, right? And then you got Pagano this week. He came out and I mean, with Roquan out, we need some turnovers. We need some big plays. We need to change momentum of the game.
Last week.
Oh, I know. And I said that on Bear Football. Like, if you drop 3 turnovers against Aaron Rodgers, you're losing every single time. You have to force that shit. And it's the same kind of ways today. We need big plays today to kind of spark this defense, to get them in a set. And we got a clip here of Pagano basically why he challenged this defense to make big plays.
You know, in the games that we've struggled, we haven't made those. We had chances a week ago to get off the field. You know, third down opportunities that are hard to come by, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, you know, third and long, that you normally don't get versus an Aaron Rodgers run Packer offense, you know, and we didn't come up. We didn't make those plays. And so they understand that. And they've, you and we wouldn't put them if we didn't trust them to make those plays. We wouldn't have them in those spots. So they got to wear a hard hat at times, but we fully expect that, they're there for a reason, that, we trust them to wear that hat and to get the job done. So in order to go down there and play well and beat this team, our guys, our game records, our 5 stars, they got to play that way. Our 4 stars, our 3 stars, everybody's got to play to their ability, and I've got to do my job, and I've got to do it better.
Well, you're leaving out the 1 stars, coach, and that's you. So your players have had opportunities to make plays. Like last week, they had 3, they dropped them. But your defense is piss poor. You've allowed quarterback after quarterback to pick us apart by sitting in soft zone all fucking season long. And I just don't see it changing today. The Saints have now Michael Thomas back. Alvin Kamara's eligible to play. You talk about Emmanuel Sanders and his relationship with Drew Brees to this point. Jared Cook, a tight end over the middle. That's the guy, if me personally, that I think has a big day today is Jared Cook. I just think that, we're going to be so focused on stopping Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and Alvin Kamara that the tight end is just going to be completely overlooked. And I think Jared Cook has a huge game for the Saints today. Pagano, you can challenge your players all you want, Chuck. They're going out there, they're playing their ass off. Yeah. It's what the positions you're putting them in that is awful. You can't expect a guy to make a play when you're putting him in a soft zone and there's a receiver 8 yards behind him that he doesn't have a chance to make a play on. There's just not an opportunity for that in this style of defense that Chuck wants to play. It's not there. They need to get back to manning up and putting pressure on the wide receiver to get off the line of scrimmage. You have to do that with these guys. If you get beat, you get beat. Live up to it. That's life. You're going to get knocked down. You got to get back up. They've got to play their best game of the season today, and Chuck Pagano has to be on his game today, and I just don't see it.
And look, I get it, right? I get it, talking about getting the most out of your players, and I get the sound, right? I think this week, in fact, that in another press conference, and I apologize if we're getting to this clip later, but in another one of the press conferences, he talked about showing 20 plays that these guys made in that last game against New Orleans and just building them up, that this is what you can do. This is what you're capable of. I get that. I just dislike the fact that it was sort of an afterthought at the end of that sound that, I have to do my job too. Well, let's hear that a little bit.
He says that every week.
There, right. And here's what we need to do a little bit different. I get it. Coaches aren't going to want to tip their hand and give away what their game plans are in a press conference. And, maybe we don't deserve that. But you do want to hear a little bit more of the accountability. And not he dropped it as a soundbite there at the end. So you might as well lead with that. Own it, man. Wear it. But, I don't necessarily disagree with building up these players, calling them out, say, hey, you guys got to wear the hat. You're going to be in those roles. You got to be ready for it. But share the accountability, Chuck.
Yeah. The 2 things that I pulled from that clip, number one was he talked about 3 stars, 4 stars, and 5 stars playing to their ability. You as a coach are supposed to get them to play above the level that they're at. That's what head coaches are supposed to do. And number 2, I thought my hairline was bad. That's why I'm always wearing a hat. I think Pagano just needs to give up and shave it, bro. that thing's back here, bro.
Holding us back, yes.
Yeah, listening to him and hearing him sit there and say, trying not to give away what they're going to do. I get it. It's a game of strategy and so on and so forth. But I don't know. Maybe it's because of the way I was coached as a kid and throughout high school and whatnot. I don't give a fuck if you know what I'm going to do. fucking stop me. Stop. I don't care. I coached for years in this area. I coached I was a baseball coach for a number of years. I had very good teams. And you know what my steal sign was? I pointed at the kid on the base and told him to go. If your fucking pitcher's good enough to throw him out, okay, you got me. Guess what never happened? Never had a fucking kid thrown out.
Right.
You can't don't be afraid, Chuck. It seems like this team is
We said the
afraid.
same thing
Show
about
their
Nagy
hand.
forever. We said the same thing
yeah.
about Nagy. Well, like, why are you going away from running the ball? And he's like, well, they'll eventually they'll figure it out. Like, no, just jam it down their throat and make them stop you.
Yeah, you don't have to be tricky. You don't. I think that's what Badge is getting at. Also, you don't have to. You don't have to be tricky. You don't have to come out there and try to. I mean, I get it. Yeah, disguise the coverage or do this or that, right? But to try to outsmart the other team every time is just
not going to happen.
Yeah, and
against guys like Breeze
and
Rogers, you're not going to do it anyway. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's another. I mean, the kind of on the same deal, right? With how effective the Saints have been. We have a little thing here with Nagy talking about how effective the Saints offense has been this year. So let's run into that real quick, and then I got some thoughts on what we're going to see today.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a huge part of this game. You have a head coach that's been working with a quarterback for a long time. You have a quarterback that's been working with these guys, these skilled players for a pretty long time. And so you see schematically the challenge that they present with the different things that they do, whether it's tempo or whether it's the personnel switches, getting the ball out, taking shots, being able to do different things there. That's a big challenge. And what they try to do is keep you on your heels and dictate the tempo and dictate what's going to happen each and every play. So for us, I think it's important that we just continue to just stay calm, cool, and collected, throughout the game. You're also talking with a team, Mike, that has a lot of playoff experience across the board, and that's an advantage for them going into that. But we just got to make sure defensively that we do everything we can to try to get takeaways, play smart football, and then play together, play fast, run around, have fun, cut it loose. And I think when we do that, we're a pretty good defense.
I couldn't have said it any better than Tony.
Yeah. Hey, Baz, you talked earlier about scheming these guys open. Those couple of plays that we just watched, those highlights, watch how they scheme their guys open. You've got a running back going out to the flat. You've got a guy going deep, and you've got Emmanuel Sanders running a shorter crossing route. How do you cover that? You know what I'm saying? Because you're pulling the safeties deep, you're pulling the linebackers out, and then it's just a fucking pitch and catch for Drew Brees. Why don't we do that? Instead, you see Holtz, Allen, and Darnell Mooney running the same exact play in the left corner of the end zone, putting the entire defense in the same spot, and then telling Mitch, just fucking make a perfect pass right in there. And then everybody's like, Mitch fucking sucks. He threw a goddamn interception in the red zone. Dude, everything is condensed in the red zone, and then you've got the whole team in the same spot. It's impossible. I don't care if you're Breeze or Rodgers.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I think that's all. Yeah, it's all the same thing that they just – and Nagy's comments, man. Nagy's comments are just – they're basic. They're like – they always are. They're just like, we're
word soup is what John Buffon said, and it's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, and whatever, man. I know we got clips from earlier this season. I know we ended up going to overtime with these guys earlier this year. I just think I don't know that they're the same team anymore. I mean, they also lost to I think they lost to the Eagles when Drew Brees was out. But I just don't think that they're the same team anymore. I think they're hitting now. Emmanuel Sanders came out yesterday, I think it was, or maybe 2 days ago, with a tweet and basically said like, "Hey, I'm gonna have a big game. Like that's it. I'm gonna fucking explode. I'm having a big game." The only thing that I could hope, right, and kind of
what up, sir?
kind of from Vienna, Austria. Okay,
Great
what up, man?
sausages.
Yeah, Bears fan all over the nation or the world. But anyway, so I think what we could see, hopefully, right, is that since Michael Thomas has been out of this offense for so long, that they try to change up their game plan to get him involved, and that we see a team that's not ready for that game plan. And that's the only thing I could really hope on this Saints offense is that they come out and they try to involve Thomas. So that's taking carries away from Kamara. It's taking you're adding something to the system that's been running so well that maybe, just maybe, it changes it up a little bit. And absolutely, 100%, this defense needs to come in and force some turnovers, man, and get some shit going here.
Yeah,
I want to take what you said about Emmanuel Sanders, Bobby. So that tells you he's watching tape, right? Number one. Number two, it also tells you that in watching the tape and watching what the Bears defense does, they've found something that they think that they can exploit with Emmanuel Sanders. And I'm pretty sure that's why Emmanuel Sanders comes out and says he's going to have a big day. So, I mean, when it comes to playoff football, you're throwing everything out the window at this point. It's it's a different season. It's a different place. It's a different time. You can't continue to run the same shit out there week over week.
We're not leaving any bullets in the chamber, badge.
He forgot the fucking gun.
He had a flare gun, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, and there was, like, yesterday prior to the game, there was a couple of the, let's just say, the NFL Network talents, if you want to call them that, but a couple of the people on NFL Network predicted Emmanuel Sanders to have the playoff record today in receiving yards, to go in and toast this defense on receiving yards, and to set a new playoff record against this Bears defense. That's kind of.
I trust our corners. It's gonna suck without Roquan, but I mean, we watched these corners able to shut guys down earlier in the season. And I know you said that the Saints is a different team now when we took these guys to overtime. We're a different team too. But I don't see them. Jalen Johnson's back, man. And so that pushes your talent. You know what I'm saying? Kendall Vildor held his own somewhat while he was playing in. I'd love to see him in the slot. You got Deion Bush coming back, and you've got DHC that can step in. I feel like we're going to run a lot of, and it might suck for us in the running defense, but I feel like we're going to run a lot of DBs today.
I just think it's going to have less to do with our talent and more to do with coverage, because all the Saints are going to attack us in these intermediate passes, right? Where we play off, they're going to pick up 3, 4, 5 yards on every pass, chip away, chip away, chip away. I bet you if Emmanuel Sanders has that record-breaking day, it's going to be a lot of that. It's not going to be a deep ball. I mean, Breeze isn't that quarterback, So I think it's less about talent, more about the coverage. And
that's true. Yeah.
You got to get in their face.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think, the ball has to bounce our way. It has to bounce our way today. If we try to just go back and forth downfield, we're going to get outmatched. I think that's just simple. We have to force some turnovers. This defense has to step up, man. You can't go in to this game and think that you're just going to grind it, right? And like kind of how we started last game against the Packers and 7:35 drive, right? For, even though that one we got a touchdown, but 7-minute drive for a field goal. We're not going to win with field goals. We're not going to win with kind of grinding it out. I think we need to come out here, and this defense needs to force some turnovers, and we have to get after it, man.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Bobby. I just, obviously Alvin Kamara is a big factor for this Saints team. I think your focus should be to stopping him in the run game, number one, and number two, limiting him in the passing attack. You think back to that first matchup, and What's one of the first plays that stood out in my mind from that game was Kamara coming out of the backfield, and Khalil Mack dropping into coverage when Tyshawn Gibson was right there behind him. Yeah. So Mack drops back into coverage. You got Tyshawn Gibson right there. They throw a pass to Kamara, and he takes off for 58 yards.
Yeah, I mean, they just cut him on those little angle routes. There's not a linebacker in the league that's going to cover him in that.
Yeah, I just don't get why is Khalil dropping if you've got Tyshawn Gibson right there.
Right.
If Mack isn't dropping and he's rushing the passer, that ball's got to come out quicker, and it's an easy tackle for Tyshawn Gibson. Yeah, Mack's dropping 6-7 yards off the ball. The pass comes out to Kamara, and Mack ends up taking out Tyshawn Gibson on that play, and Kamara breaks a big run. There's just things schematically with this defense that don't make any goddamn sense.
And we've seen a lot with our guys in the secondary, and Eddie Jackson's been crucified for it, but we've seen it all across the secondary. The only sure tackler that I'm sure of is in our secondary is Kyle Fuller. We see a lot of guys who, if there's a linebacker there, they'll just kind of stand back and just expect Trevathan or Roquan or one of those guys to make the tackle instead of everybody rushing to the ball. When you rush to the ball, that's when turnovers happen. Like what were to happen if Roquan was to punch the ball out? Then you've got a safety that's standing back expecting you to make the tackle, and there goes the football, and it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know who's coaching it that way.
I mean, offensively, the Saints will be without Nick Easton, right? He's one of their guards. Yep. This defense has to get after him. You guys see on the bottom line there, we only got to Breeze once in that first game. And you have to fluster him, man. You have to get there. You have to get your hands up, and you have to get after Breeze in that sense. I honestly think they're going to bring in Hill, and we're going to fucking try to spy him with Josh Woods or something stupid along those lines, and Hill's going to fucking dart for a big-ass run on us. But I think we have to get after Breeze. We have to force this defensive front to do what they're paid to do. Get in there, get after him. And then on the flip side, offensively, for us, right, we know we're without Mooney. We know that we need a big game. We need Miller to step up. We need Wims not to punch somebody in the face. Right, we got to stick with our run game. And the Saints are without Trey Hendrickson, who I want to say has put up like 13.5 sacks this year. He's one of their big studs on defense, man, and that's a benefit to us. Unfortunately for him, he's out, but whatever. Mooney's out too. And it just turns out that's a benefit for us. And we need to pick apart this defense, man. We need to get down there and throw the ball for more than 5 yards on a throw. I want to say last week there was I forget what it was, but the majority of the passes were 10 yards or less, right?
Yeah, everything was short little 3-yard passes, and we never even tried to do a double move off of it or anything. So the Packers just kind of were like, okay, we're just going to make the tackle and put you in a 4th down situation 6 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Mooney made that amazing catch. Time we did. It's a double move.
Yeah, and I mean, when you go after a defense and that's what you're bringing to the table, that's what you're showing, you just limit yourself time and time again, man, and just they know what you're doing. And to only have that one deep ball, right, and to not get after it, I think is another reason why the majority of us and Bears fans thought that Matt Nagy was calling the damn plays last week. You have to take some shots, man. You have to open this up.
You look at if you went back and looked at that Green Bay game, they took away the intermediate routes. That's what their game plan was. So if I'm the Saints, I'm going to kind of pretty much follow that same thing. I'm going to follow that same MO. There was nothing really open, anywhere between 5 and 15. Well, maybe greater than 5, but anything past 15 yards, you're good, dude. Forget about it. Green Bay took that away. So they were sending an end upfield every time, which forced Mitch to get the ball out quick. So that was either a Komet or a running back or a wide receiver that was sitting in the flat. And they put us in positions where we had to go for it on fourth down 6 times, right? Was it 6?
Yeah. Or I thought it was 6.
I don't remember a time where.
But didn't they seem like they were playing to go for it on fourth down?
Like, I mean, kind of, yeah.
Like they were like, "Oh, we're in fourth down territory." How? It's the fucking third quarter, and there's 6 fucking, you know what I mean? Like 6 minutes left. Like, why are you playing to go for it on fourth down? And then on 4th and 1, why are you not just pushing it upfield? Why are we like trying to get tricky and stupid again? There's a fumble by Komet, right?
I love his fight, but man, you got to hold on to the ball. We've seen that 2 or 3 times this year. I feel like we got lucky on the one where he had forward progress stop, but you got to
But I do think that that's something that's needed. His fight. I mean, I think he brings a spark to this offense. At least we have somebody going out there and running people over and coming back, like pumped up and ready to go, instead of somebody who gets a 3-yard dump tackled back huddle. Okay, what's next? That's the shit.
We even saw it out of Darnell Mooney fighting for extra yardage a couple times last week. And he's a tiny dude, and he's out there just throwing his head at people, trying to make a damn play.
Yeah, it sucks. I think that's what got him hurt. It was a 3rd or 4th after that pass on the far side of the field. He picks up the first down, gets extra yardage. It was that last hit that I think dinged him up.
Yeah.
Need more of that from everybody, not the injury.
Right.
Yeah,
well, if you don't get it today, we're not going to get it because it's a winner. Go home.
I mean, and I know we could talk about it next week. I mean, but if we don't get it today, man, I want you guys to be prepared of how many players do you believe are not wearing this jersey again next year? Not a question for right now, but next week, if this doesn't happen, where do we sit next year? Next year, and how many of these players aren't here? I think this game, dude, I don't know. So me personally, do I feel we can win it? I always feel we can win it, right? I do. I always feel we can win it. The Saints aren't really a team that I'm like worried about, and I don't know why. I should absolutely be worried about them.
Yeah,
I don't think they're as good as Green Bay. I don't think they're as good as Green Bay, and we were in that game. We were outcoached. The only reason we lost that game is because we were outcoached. So any given Sunday, right? Any team in the NFL can win a game. What we have to overcome is the Roquan injury. I think that's going to be big, and that's going to be tough to do. I don't even know who's going to end up playing there. Slot corner, we don't necessarily know if Shelley's playing there. Like there's some question marks. I wonder if putting Vildor there with Jalen back makes some sense. So we'll see. But they'll be in it, man. I mean, this is the Bears were in it with Green Bay till they decided not to kick a field goal. Right?
Yeah, it was a 5-point game with 11 minutes left.
Yeah, I saw in the chat thread that we got creamed by Green Bay twice, and I don't think we did. I think we got creamed by them. I think we were very much in the game. And so if you can stay neck and neck with Green Bay, there's no reason why we can't do that same thing in the Dome today.
Yeah, Robbie, we just talked about that about 5 minutes ago. Hendrickson being out today and his 13.5 sacks. I don't know, man. I just kind of feel like, Smiles there is correct, that the players have to overcome the coaching, and that sucks. We constantly put ourselves, behind it, and like Mitch needs to call an audible for the stupidity of Nagy to get this ball moving or whatever. But I don't know, man. Not really sure. I know we do have some good news though. We're gonna go with a little, maybe not a badge of honor, but it's a little bit about our partners at the Within Reach Foundation and what they're doing currently. So I'm going to kick this thing over to Badge. Badge, let these people know what's going on, man.
Yeah, so a new initiative for the Within Reach Foundation just kicked off this past week, and it's inspired through support shown by the fans throughout the past month and from those donating from their fantasy football leagues. The new program is called Allen's Teammate of the Week. It's a donor recognition program designed to recognize and reward donors and supporters of Allen Robinson's Within Reach Foundation. Each week throughout the month of January, Robinson will select a different supporter of the Within Reach Foundation to receive a spotlight on the foundation's social media platforms. These spotlights will be posted on all Within Reach Foundation social media platforms every Friday. So each selected recipient will also receive a signed Allen Robinson football. And Allen's first teammate of the week this week is Shea Doshi. When asked why he chose to donate to Allen's foundation, Shea had the following to say. The decision to choose A-Rob's foundation as the recipient of my donation came from two things. First, and most importantly, I believe the lack of educational opportunity is one of the greatest perpetrators of cyclical poverty. Thus, while we work to change the systems that allow this exploitative cycle to continue, I believe it's critical that we support the work that Allen has been doing to ensure that education poses as small of a barrier as possible on the road to economic equity. The second reason for my donation is far less deep, but that doesn't keep me from holding great importance to me. The Bears. I watch each and every play and every Sunday just waiting to see the miraculous catches that A-Rob will come down with that week. So when the opportunity presented itself to support Allen, just as he has been supporting my emotions with his clutch plays over the last 3 years, the decision was a no-brainer. So if you're interested in being one of Allen's teammate of the week, all you got to do is simply go to the Within Reach Foundation website, which Aldo just had up for you not that long ago, at allenrobinson12.org. Make a donation and submit your request to be teammate of the week. They will reach out to you and ask you to support, ask if you would be interested, and go from there. So another great thing that the Within Reach Foundation is working on so far. I wanted to let you guys know from people that have won their fantasy football leagues, Allen's foundation has raised over $15,000 just from donations from people that have won their fantasy football leagues, which is freaking amazing. So we appreciate you guys doing your part, and helping us raise money for Allen's foundation. We're over $10,000 supporting Allen's foundation this season, and that can't be done without you guys. And we can't thank you enough. So here's an opportunity for you to get recognized for that.
Yeah, and it's cool, man, that he finds a way to kind of go back in and you can go in there, you can donate. I think the minimal is $12 if I'm correct still. I do the monthly thing. It's like a direct deposit.
Me
but
too.
I think it's like $12 is the first block that you could pick, but you could always put other in there. But just to take time to acknowledge people that are donating and to the Within Reach Foundation, not from us, but from Allen Robinson himself, man. I think it's a big, a great move, and will definitely help out the foundation and everything they got going on. All right, man. Let's yeah, absolutely. Let's go into the kind of like little keys to the game here, and what you think we need to do to be successful. We'll get that going. We'll go, down into some score predictions and bold predictions and that here in a little bit. So if you're in the chat and you got whatever your keys to the game are, score prediction, bold predictions, drop them in there. But Mike, let's start with you, man. What do you think that this offense needs to do to be successful and catch a Bears dub today?
Well, I said it earlier. I think red zone efficiency. I think they'll have a game plan that gets us there. 3, 4, 5 today. And when you get there, you got to put a touchdown on the board. We can't settle for field goals. Offensively, to me, that's the key. And on defense, I think it's taking advantage of turnover opportunities. That turns the tide last week if we come up with 2 of the 3 or 3 of the 3 or even 1 of the 3 interceptions. It went through our hands. I said last week the key was no mistakes, play mistake-free football, and that might be impossible. But when you get to the playoffs, you kind of have to do that. And you certainly need to limit the mistakes. So I put the drop turnovers in that category. The failures in the red zone is certainly something that needs to improve. So, to me, that's what it comes down to. When you get to the red zone, you gotta put 7 points on the board, especially against this Saints team that they score. They score a lot of points, and without Roquan, we're going to need to be strong offensively.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're gonna need somebody to step up and kind of, fill, maybe not fill those shoes, but to be there to take some of that pressure, because that Roquan's definitely gonna be missed today. AC, over to you, man. What's your keys to the game? What do you think we need to do in order to be successful today?
Well, I agree with what Schaefer just said, but to me, I know we did it last week, but controlling the game on the ground and keeping Drew Brees off the field, I think is going to go a long way into winning this ball game. And like Schaefer said, putting 6 on the board instead of 3 when you get into those red zone situations. And defensively, I'd love to say we need to hit Drew Brees, but for whatever reason, we haven't been able to get home. It seems like all season. And I don't know why. We've got the players to do it, and I don't know if it's a scheme issue or what, but you gotta. I mean, the only way to rattle a quarterback, especially to Drew Brees' caliber, is to hit him. So I think we got to get home pressure wise, defensively, and offensively. You got to control the clock.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think all of us, kind of are in the same basis of what needs to be done today. So I'm going to kind of flip this up with Badge and, keys to the game, right? But what absolutely do you think needs to happen today? What is, I don't know, just either the running game, the pressure, Nagy, or not Nagy, Pagano changing up the pressure in the scheme, the running game going, Mitch mistake free, red zone scoring. I think these are all things that we know for sure need to happen. But what's the thing that you believe needs to happen today, man?
Well, I think a big factor that I think the Saints are going to remember from the last game is not kicking the ball to Cordero Patterson, and I think that is going to possibly hurt us, because I really believe in order to win this game, we're going to need something from our special teams unit. I think it hurts not having Cordero Patterson involved. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean in the run game. I would like to see him used a little bit more in the screen game or short pass game. To me, the factor today has to be David Montgomery. This is a guy who they just don't give the ball to when he needs it. He's a monster. The guy is a beast. He can be the guy that really drives this offense. And the offense, I feel, has to go through him, whether that's in the run game, in the pass game, either or. You've seen it, late in games when we need a big play. He's a guy who catches the ball out of the backfield and makes guys miss. To me, the key to the game is David Montgomery today, 150%.
Yeah. So for me, man, I'm going with, shutting down Kamara and frustrating and flustering Breeze. Defense has to get off the field on third down. They have to shut him down on third, get off the damn field. You can't leave any of these short 4th and 1s, because obviously the Packers didn't care. They're going to go right after it. And I feel the same way about the Saints, man. I think this defense is what really needs to step up to win this damn game. If it's as easy as Glennon had it and Rodgers had it, I don't think we stand a chance. The way the Bears did control the game against the Packers. They had the time of possession. They ran more plays. They had the opportunity to win. I know Caesar was talking about a little while ago too, but it didn't win them the game, and it's not gonna win us the game against the Saints either. So they have to come down here. They have to force some turnovers and fluster this offense into making mistakes. If they don't do that, I don't think we stand a chance. And that's just kind of where we're at, right? I think Peyton getting Sean Payton, and I don't know, man. I just think that this defense is the key to winning. If this defense doesn't show up, we're not winning a shootout with Drew Brees. And that's really it, man. All right, let's move over to to bold predictions, score predictions. But before we do that, our partners at Manscaped, we've teamed up with Manscaped at manscaped.com, and we're going to give away, not today, but we need to get this little raffle thing going. We're going to give away the Performance Package 3.0. That's what you're looking at right there. It comes with a t-shirt. It comes with the boxers, with the little hygiene bag. You got the ball reviver, the rejuvenator. You got the lawnmower 3.0 that it's going to come with. We're going to raffle one of these things off. Let's do it next week. We'll do it next week, and we'll start it. And then we'll go ahead and give it away on Super Bowl Sunday if you guys are good with that. But we'll start a little raffle next week, and we'll give it away on Super Bowl Sunday. But it comes with everything you see in the pack. This is the total package kit. We're giving away the performance package. It's valued at like $130. And we're going to get it out to you guys. Get over to manscaped.com. Use code BARROOM20 for all of your needs. They got the weed whacker. They got the like we said, the lawnmower 3.0, the no-nick technology. It comes with a little light on it, everything. You got the ceramic blades, the preserver like they're showing there, the ball reviver. The reviver is like we said before, it's like damn Red Bull for your balls. And then the weed whacker. The weed whacker is on the side code as a side sale for them. It does not come in the performance kit, but that thing's awesome too, man. Some of these pictures are just pretty funny. But you got to get yourself cleaned up, get in there. We're going to also do, if we can get a turnover, we do the ball saving play of the game over here at the Barfly Tailgate Show. And then we do the clean sack of the game. But unfortunately, we haven't had any of those. So we could send these performance packages out to players for those as a victory. But get over to manscaped.com. Use code BARROOM20 for all your needs. Tony says, nice pubes. Thanks, Tony. You got to use the 3.0 and they'll be gone, buddy. But we're going to give one of these things away and get that thing going. So we'll kick that off later today. I'll do it from the Twitter account. If you're not on Twitter, check the Barroom page on Facebook. We'll get that going in there. And to our partners over at Manscaped, thanks for keeping it clean, and keeping our number one fantasy player ready for game time, baby. All right, so let's get into bowl predictions, score predictions, and go from there. Let me start this thing off with Mr. Ryan Badgley. Let's go bowl prediction. Coming to you, man. What do you got?
Oh man, you're starting with me, huh? Shit.
Yeah, I know.
He
wasn't ready.
No, it's not that I'm not ready. It's just that, I just don't know today. I really, I'm not confident. As much as I want this team to come out and show out, I just think there's too many hindrances that cause a problem. So, bold prediction, I think I will go with that we hold the Saints to under 30 points. That is my bold prediction. My score prediction is the Saints winning this game 28-17. Unfortunately, I just don't have the confidence today in this coaching staff to have put in a game plan that works to the strengths of our offensive and defensive players to put them in the best position to excel. Unfortunately, 28-17 Saints.
Oh, man, I know, I get it, and I think all of us could easily agree with you. It's just like the bold prediction to hold them under 30 is like, ouch, that hurts even more on the backside of it. All right, Mr. Aaron Current, AC in the place to be. Give him some good news. The Kentucky kid, bold prediction, score prediction. What do you got?
My bold prediction is the offense gets back on track today. Bill Lazor takes over play calling 100% again, and David Montgomery goes for over 100 yards rushing and 75 yards receiving. However, the Bears defense cannot keep up with the New Orleans Saints, and we lose this ball game. But it will be I believe it will be a high scoring affair, and I think that the Bears lose this game 38-34.
Man,
Well, you guys get to be optimistic and finish this off right, I guess, because Bobby Bombs is picking a Bears dub. He never picks.
you know I am. I'm fucking optimistic all the time, man. Yeah, look at it. Now put him back full screen for a minute, just as a punishment, because we know he loves that.
Hey, Ron, you done messed up. Hey, Ron,
you done messed up. Go down to O'Shag Hennessy's office.
He's on a 2-minute penalty. All right, next we'll go to Mr. Mike Schaefer. Mike, give me a score prediction, bold prediction, man. Hopefully you're on this side of the fence. You know, maybe you're from the other side of the tracks, but let's figure it out, man. What you got? Score prediction, bold prediction, send it.
I don't know. We might have to hold out hope for your prediction, but
all right.
As far as a bold prediction goes, Anthony Miller had a solid game against the Saints. The last time we played, I believe he had 8 catches for about 75 yards. He would very soon see his role diminish on the team, partly due to his drop balls, but mainly due to the fact that they changed the system. And there we go. That is some thick hair, by the way. But I think Anthony Miller's going to step up today. He's going to recognize he has an opportunity to make a name for himself once again and get back into the picture. I've got Anthony Miller with 100 yards, 10 catches, and a touchdown. He's going to go with the trio there, but it's not going to be enough because the New Orleans Saints are going to beat the Bears today 27-24. I think the defense is going to put up a good effort. We'll hold them under 30, but it's just going to be too much. And I see a lot of points late and on the New Orleans side. And like I said, just not enough.
All right. Well, look at that. I'm actually negative, Mike. I'm actually going with a score prediction of the same thing, but in reverse fashion. I'm taking the Bears by 3, man. I think Jimmy Graham has a big game. I think with the loss of Mooney, right? I know Miller should be the one to step up, but I think that we see more of these underneath games. We see more from Graham and more from Komet. Sorry, COVID. Either way, I think that we see more from those guys, right? And I hope to see Miller step up and get it done. Miller, I do think that he's one that tries to do a lot with the ball when he gets it. That's obviously what we want, but sometimes he can be a little sloppy in the way that he carries the ball. And hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt us and get after it. Bold prediction, I'm going to go with Jalen Johnson with his pick. I'm saying Jalen Johnson gets a pick today. I think it's going to be his first one. He doesn't have a pick yet this year. And I'm going to go with Johnson with the pick. And I'll go – let me give one for the offense. Let me go Jimmy Graham, 2 touchdowns. So Jimmy Graham gets 2. Johnson gets the pick. I'm saying that the Bears take this thing 27-24. I don't think it's going to be pretty. Might have to come back with a little last, maybe not last minute, but last game driving touchdown or field goal to secure it. But I think we're gonna get it done today, man. I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people, but I think if you're picking an upset, the Rams and the Bears were the 2 to pick. And then next week, I don't know, man. Next week's just gonna be horrible.
I guess a 6 seed beating a 3 seed and the Redskins or the Washington football team taking the Buccaneers down to the last second. If you need any hope, there it was yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's throw this thing around to shout outs. We'll get these shout outs done. We'll get the hell out of here so everybody can hit this early game. And then, we got the middle game of the day. Mr. Mike Schaefer, shout outs, man. Any last minute stuff you want to go over?
Yeah, I got 2 today. I'd like to shout out Camp One Step and 670 The Score here in Chicago. Camp One Step is a camp for kids that are diagnosed with cancer to sort of get away, have fun, and get their mind off what they're going through. Deep Dish Tees, which is the t-shirt company that I sort of run on the side, we teamed up with 670 The Score to do a charity drive. We're selling gaiters. I've got one right here with the 670 logo, Bears colors, Bears all the proceeds to that go to Camp One Step. So shout out to those guys. They do amazing things, and to the station as well for getting into the game. So that's my first. My second is to you guys, Bobby, Badge, AC. Thanks for bringing me in this season. I hope this isn't our last in-season pod of the year. If it is, though, I just want to say thanks to you guys. It's been awesome filling the void on game day for me. Hopefully, we'll see what happens in the future. Would love to stay on with you guys and be a part of this. So thanks to you guys and the network for bringing me in and not kicking me out too quickly.
It's an open invitation, man. Even if you get your season tickets back and you're back in the games next year, maybe you can come through with a bye week update or something.
You know I will.
Yeah, absolutely. Or we'll catch you walking through the stadium, at the beginning of the game. I don't know, whatever it is, man. Absolutely, though, brother. AC, over to you, man. You got any shout outs? Anything you want to, any last minute stuff you want to plug or shout out?
I don't have anything to plug, I guess. Just like Schaefer said.
I saw that hairline. What are you talking
about? Just like Schaefer said, shout out to you guys. If this is the last show of regular season game of the year, it's been a pleasure. Shout out to everybody at the bar room. I've seen Barlissimo in our chat all day. That dude's great. And he does some tape breakdowns on YouTube. That's pretty good. And he's already ran probably 72 mock drafts this season. So he's a guy you can keep an eye on this offseason. And
You
speaking of
two?
72. 72.
Okay, very well.
and being that it's draft season upcoming, I'd say stick around with the Bears Ballroom. We've got draft on tap with Danny Shimon and Neil out there. They've got you covered with all the prospects that we're looking at, and they do a great job. Everybody at the Ballroom does really solid work. You got John Buffone getting you ready every week. But I'm not going to take Bobby's job. I'm going to hop off here, and you can get me off the full screen now. Just shout out to y'all. shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us this season. Hopefully we can get this dub today and keep going.
Absolutely, man. Brian Pearson asked in the chat
you just gonna keep me on.
If we're gonna do anything after. Brian, you got at the halftime show, you got Bear football right at halftime. They'll recap the first half, and then after the game, Bear football with Tyler Ellis, John Buffone, and Mr. Aldo Gandia. We'll wrap the game up. Let's kick this thing over to Mr. Ryan Badgley for shout outs and any last minute things you got. Badge, what you got, man?
You need one of these, AC. Check this out.
Hey.
All right. So first off, one thing that I forgot to mention. So the last time the Bears played in New Orleans, we lost Zach Miller. And basically it was his career ending. So first and foremost,
his touchdown away, bastards.
Yeah, I know. And they took the touchdown away, which was bullshit too. So first and foremost, the Bears being in New Orleans, hopefully they can use some of Zach's energy and totally erase all of mine, Mike's, and AC's score predictions and get a win. Zach Miller, shout out to you, man. I love Zach Miller, and it really, dude who fought through so many injuries early in his career, to have that happen and not be able to take the field again. Just a great all-around dude, and hopefully we use some of his energy. Mike, having you join us on the show, man, was freaking excellent, dude. Getting to know you from doing the show and, talking and whatnot, man, you're an awesome dude. I love everything you're doing with Deep Dish Teas. And, I respect you so much. AC, I love doing this show with you, man. I love the banter and the debates and the back and forth in text and everything. And, it's been fun. If this is the last in-season show, it's been awesome. Bobby, I mean, if I talked about us, it might get a little too gay here. So I'll save that for you and I. But I love doing this with you, man. It's been so fun these 3 years, being able to do this with you and work in the background on stuff that people don't know about, and that we put together and working with Eldo, through all this. Eldo, I love you, brother. You're the man. Giving me this opportunity to come out here each and every week. It's awesome. And I can't thank you enough. The guys that listen in and watch the show week over week, come in the chat, bring it week over week, giving us your insight, letting us go through the chat, putting up what you're saying. And you guys are awesome. Yeah, Efren, totally. You guys are great week over week. We can't thank you enough. And just because this is this is the possible last in season show, we're not going anywhere. We're still going to bring it to you, each week. We may take a little season break here at some point, just to kind of recharge the batteries and whatever. But we're going to take you right through the playoffs, maybe even into the off season. I mean, shit. We've got a record to try to break with our draft show, our draft coverage.
Oh, no.
I mean, 6 hours and 10 minutes. We got to fucking top that shit.
6 hour draft show. Fuck, man. All right, so here we go. Shout out.
6 hour draft show with no quarterback.
Yeah. Shout out to all you guys, of course. Everybody in the chat, thanks so much for joining, man. You guys make it. Yeah, didn't he, Caesar? Like, he's like, damn, this sounds like a funeral. Like, Badge was leaving us and shit. Like,
no, I'm not going anywhere.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to our optimistic fans in the chat. Like myself that are picking the Bears to win because fuck these guys. And then and shout out to all the sponsors and everybody who continues to interact on Twitter, on Facebook, on all that. We're getting everything set up again. We're getting everything up and running, man. We're gonna have some special things for you guys here shortly. I know we got some stickers that we're gonna give away, and we got, what is this he's trying to show me? Yeah, we got these ones here.
Got some stickers.
Yeah, we got stickers from our sponsors over at Audacia. Get over to audacia.com, check them out, man. And Audacia Sports, look them up. The ones that you tag up your computers with or whatever. I stuck one on one of my buddy's cars. He's a Green Bay fan, so I stuck the Cleo Mack one on his car. He doesn't know about it yet. I put it on his bumper, so fuck him too. But either way, get over to Audacia, check those out. They got a bunch, and everything over there with them goes to a good cause. So it'll go to back a player foundation or to back a cause. Audacia is killing it, man. They're coming out with these things, and if you have any that you want to take a look at or you haven't seen yet, they'll help you out with that. Shout out to everybody in America that's like keeping a cool head and not storming the fucking Capitol or not being just fucking dumbasses. You know what I mean? This place is the democracy, and you don't have to agree with each other, but you still should fucking respect each other. So people doing like, dumb shit and getting crazy, man. Like, I don't know. Like, put those people in check that are around you. I got some around me. Like, just put them in check, man. And explain to them how fucking immature and just, I don't know, how some of their decisions are. And I'll leave that shit at that. And prayers and shout outs to, Barlissimo, Mr. George Bayless's mother-in-law. She's currently in a diabetic coma. And she was told that, she wasn't going to make it. I believe it was 24 hours, but she's still fighting, still going. So if everybody could go ahead and, send some prayers out for George's mother-in-law and Mary, it's Miriam's mom, it's George's wife's mom. If you guys shoot some prayers their way, George is a great friend, and everybody, takes all the Bears insight from George, and he's always there, man. And to just, throw some prayers out and ask for his mother-in-law to pull through. George, we love you, dude, and love having you stop by and on the show. And then everybody else, man, let's get this thing going. We need a big playoff win today. We need to bring it back in. We need to take this team down. Do I think that it solidifies that this coaching staff is probably here next year? Yeah, but I don't care. I still want to win. I more so want the W's than I want this team to lose. Get over to bearsbarroom.com on YouTube, on Twitter, on all that. Subscribe, like, retweet, join, whatever the fuck it is. Do it all. And get over to Facebook too. Facebook, it's the bar. I forget what it's called, but I'm the one who started it. Yeah, I'm the one who fucking set it up, and I forgot what it's called. It's called Bar. I actually built it, but either way, it's called the Barroom Pub. Get over there, join the group over there. A lot of good stuff there. Maybe we give away the Manscaped thing just to the Barroom Pub on Facebook. I don't know. Maybe we should do a couple special things just for the people in there, because I know not everybody has Twitter and I know not everybody has Facebook, but to kind of share the wealth, this one, it's always the right time to look at this. Either way, let's go for a big Bears win today. Thanks everybody for joining the show. Catch us at halftime. Catch John Buffone, Tyler Ellis, Mr. Aldogandia at halftime for the first half wrap up. And the Bears will be up by it'll be 17. I'm gonna say it's gonna be 17-10 at halftime. Bears are up. But let's get there, get it done. Thanks for joining us, and we're gonna leave you guys with a big ass bear down.
Bear down.
Thank you.